Great. Good afternoon. My name is Victor Griego. I'm here to welcome you to this webinar this afternoon on diversity opportunities in the private water industry in California. The Supplier Diversity Webinar has been planning now for a couple of months, and we're excited that we're going to kick it off this afternoon. On behalf of WELL, we're a partner in this endeavor because our mission is to educate Latino leaders throughout California on the challenges that California faces in the water industry, the water regions throughout the state, particularly as we face climate change, the drought, and other challenges to our water supply here in California. Diversity opportunities in the water industry are important for us because many of our participants and leaders have Chamber of Commerces that could benefit from supplier diversity in the private water industry. But more importantly, as you all know, the industry has a vital role of providing water here in California. It's a role that is taken serious by customers, by the industry, by industry leaders. But more importantly, as we move forward here in California, WELL looks to partner with different organizations that have a similar mission. And we believe that the private water industry here in California has a similar interest that we have at WELL to make sure that we have a successful water supply, a supply that is clean, that is affordable, and that we are prepared for the challenges that climate change has given not only California, but throughout the country and certainly throughout the world, as we see with floods in Bangladesh, India, and other places throughout the world. So today is a good opportunity for us to present opportunities to potential vendors that the private industry can work with, but more importantly, that there could be a relationship down the road that could provide better services to residents, consumers that the private water industry has made a priority. So I would like to remind everybody that we're going to take questions. The questions should be in the Q&A chat box so that we could follow up after our presentation with questions. So again, on behalf of WELL and the hundreds of leaders that we engage throughout California, we welcome you this afternoon. I'd like to now introduce Holly Joy, Program Manager, Supplier Diversity with Liberty Utilities and the CWA Utilities Supplier Diversity Program Chair. So Holly, take it away.
Thank you so much, Victor, and thank you for the introduction, and thank you to all of the WELL persons and members that are on this call. We certainly are representing the investor-owned water utilities, at least some of them in California. And as we provide, as you mentioned, Victor, this most precious commodity, water, we turn to our communities to make sure that we're delivering information, that we're providing education. And in this particular space today, we're providing potential opportunities to work with our individual companies, to suppliers and commercial consumers that are in our service area or beyond, to help us to continue to deliver the safe and reliable water that all of us in California are accustomed to and that we want to continue. So if you'd like to bring up the slide, Victor, or Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Thank you so much. So we endeavor today to help you understand how you can potentially do business with California Water Association water utility companies. Next slide, please. You're going to hear from 7 Class A water utilities. Myself and all of my colleagues here will be speaking individually about the opportunities and the companies and some of the initiatives that they are embarking upon that will hopefully provide you enough information for you to make an informed decision if you would like to pursue working with us as a vendor or a contractor. Next slide. So why are we in this space called supplier diversity? Some 16 years ago, the water utilities decided to begin participating in what's known as General Order 156. This applies to all investor-owned utilities in the state of California, water utilities, energy, telecommunications, gas, anyone that is exceeding $25 million or more in annual revenues. This general order asks specifically that we spend at least 21.5% of all procurement dollars with diverse business enterprises. It further defines what those diverse categories look like. They include women-owned, minority-owned, disabled veteran-owned, and LGBT-owned business enterprises in the state. Currently, that 21.5% spend is calculated by spending 15% with minority-owned businesses, 5% with women-owned businesses, and 1.5% with disabled veteran business enterprises. There is an annual en banc, which is a public forum that I would invite any of the WELL members to. That's going to be occurring on October 13th of 2022. It is a virtual public forum that will further define not just the water utilities perspectives and successes and challenges in supplier diversity programs, but also all of the investor-owned utilities that I mentioned previously for energy, gas, and wireless telephone. Next slide. The CPUC, all of the investor-owned utilities that are participating in this program, in order for us to report the utilization and spend of the dollars that we are spending with diverse business enterprises, requires that all diverse businesses that meet the categories that I spoke of previously are certified by the Supplier Clearinghouse. Certification by the clearinghouse is free of charge. It is a process that takes anywhere from 30 to 45 days to receive your certification. And I'm sure at the end of this document, there should be some information regarding how to connect with the Supplier Clearinghouse and begin your journey towards certification. The certification might also be reciprocal with some additional community-based organizations or even national organizations, which are here on the screen, such as the National Minority Supplier Development Council. There is a regional council in Southern California. There's also the Women Business Enterprise National Council. There's one for the West region called WEBEC West. The National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. We reciprocate their certifications with the Supplier Clearinghouse, and you can reach out to maybe local gay and lesbian chambers here in California or at the national level. And then also the Department of General Services, which is for the state of California, is the exclusive certifying agent for disabled veteran business enterprises. All of those entities do have a reciprocal relationship with the Supplier Clearinghouse, and the certifications, if are accepted, and you will be able to still be recognized for our reporting purposes. So with that being said, this is the briefest introduction for the Supplier Diversity Program for the water utilities, and we hope that you will just stay tuned and hear from each one of us as we present our companies. Next slide. Oh, I'm the next slide.
I think you're turning it over to me, Holly.
So I'd like to introduce Ed Simon with California American Water. He will be speaking to you about some successes that we've had with suppliers that have worked with the water utilities.
Thank you very much, Holly. Can everyone hear me okay? I take it. Thank you so much. As Holly mentioned, I'm Ed Simon. I'm the Inclusion and Diversity Officer for California American Water. And we wanted to share with you a success story that really touches pretty much all of the 7 water utilities that are joining us this morning. It's with a Latino-owned electrical company from Estasha Ramirez, who is the owner and Chief Executive Officer. Estasha couldn't be with us this morning, but she sent me some information that she'd like for me to share with all of you. And I'll just read her statement now. In 2016, I went to a diverse function for California American Water in Irvine, California, where she met Ed Simon. We talked briefly, and he mentioned that there was an opportunity for a diverse, relatively small business to interview for California American Water's Mentor Protege program. There were several companies considered. Leighton went through a panel interview process and a PowerPoint presentation on our company and capabilities. We found out in about a week that we had been chosen for the Mentor Protege program for 2016 to 2018. California American Water's Mentor Protege program has created the foundation and opportunities for our accelerated growth and strong business relationship within the water utility industry. Through this mentorship and opportunities, it has allowed Leighton Electric to develop a strong strategic plan inclusive of the following: their company and economic growth within the water utility pocket of the California Water Association, focused on expertise, becoming a subject expert in the electric water utility market segment. It allowed them to become innovative, educating ourselves on what matters most to the water utilities, and then working with general contractors or prime suppliers, introductions and strong business relationships with primes by understanding the scope of work and delivering high quality work in a timely manner. And then finally, she says, as of August of 2022, just this year, we are currently doing business with California American Water, Cal Water Service, Suburban Water Systems, Golden State, Liberty Utilities, and they are also bidding on work for San Gabriel Valley Water. So we share that to say that certainly working with one of us could open up opportunities to work with all of us. So with that in mind, I think I'm turning it over to Michael, and we're going to talk to you specifically about our individual companies, what it takes to work with us, and some opportunities to work with us. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Michael.
Good morning. My name is Michael Moss. I'm very proud to say that I am the new Supplier Diversity Manager here at Golden State Water Company. While I'm new to this role, I'm not new to supplier diversity. Having spent the last 10 years as the manager of the Supplier Clearinghouse, I'm an expert on everything related to certifications. We can go to the next slide. So Golden State Water Company is a public utility that is a wholly owned subsidiary of American States Water Company. I would also say that, as you can see on the map here, there's a star where our headquarters is. We're based in San Dimas, California. But just for your information, American States Utility Services also operates and maintains water and wastewater on military bases through 7 subsidiaries throughout the United States. But for the purposes of this presentation, we'll focus on California. So you can go to the next slide. Golden State Water Company operates 38 separate water systems within 80 communities in 10 counties throughout the state of California, including northern and coastal California. However, our most significant regions are within Southern California. We provide water service to over 1 million people, which is about 1 in every 37 people in California. I'd also like to point out that we are the second largest water utility with over 2,700 miles of pipeline, 23,000 fire hydrant connections, 256 wells, 160 water tanks holding 113 million gallons. We can go to the next slide. Golden State Water is dedicated to providing equal opportunities to all potential business partners. It's our policy to encourage and afford opportunities to diverse suppliers, including, but not limited to, women, minority, LGBT, disabled, veteran-owned businesses. We are committed to meeting, beating, and exceeding the goals established by General Order 156 and have done so for many years. We are currently on track to hit our goals for this year as well. Thankfully, we've established relationships with community-based organizations, such as those that are hosting this event today. We can go to the next slide. Okay, so the next series of slides highlight our investments in infrastructure throughout the state to give you an idea of some of our infrastructure projects. We can scroll through some of the areas where we've completed projects. Here you can see some of the projects. Art in Cordova on the last slide was our northernmost project. If you go to the next slide, let's see. Calpatria is our southernmost project, almost all the way down there near Mexico. Go to the next slide. Clear Lake, that actually is our northernmost project. It is also our smallest project at $500,000. We can go to the next slide. We've got Los Alamitos, we're getting into Orange County. You can just see kind of where we are. We can go to the next slide. We can go to the next one after this. We've got Southwest, which is our largest project at $21.7 million. We can move to the next one. We have master service agreements for automatic control valves for on-call services within 2 to 4 hours. Building and plant maintenance for on-call 24-hour services. We can go to the next one. We also have master service agreements for chemicals to provide the chemicals, including the delivery, disinfecting the water mains. We do that as appropriate. Electrical, including panels, which is also on call. We expect a 2 to 4 hour response time. We can go to the next one. Engine generators and equipment maintenance, filter media, supply and installation of and control and carbon exchange for treatment plants, meter testing and repair, and checking pumps as needed. We go to the next slide. Non-hazardous waste removal. Please note that for unplanned and emergency work in this space, a response is required within 1 hour. We can go to the next slide. Paving in support of pipeline, plant, and building maintenance. Pump, well, and booster. This is an on-call role, and a response is required within 2 to 4 hours. We can go on to the next slide. We can go to the next. Oh, I'm sorry. Westwood and Virginia Avenue projects. That's in Culver City. A lot of pipeline work is happening there. We can go to the next slide. In Los Osos, we have another project happening for our filtration replacements. We can go to the next slide. Okay, so at a minimum, in order to become a vendor and provide services for Golden State Water, you are required to have been in business at least 5 years. We evaluate your capabilities of the team, including your responsiveness, workforce, and equipment. It's encouraged for you to have a capability statement, which should highlight your experience. We care a lot about your safety record. That's very, very, very important. And you have to accept the Golden State Water terms and conditions. We do look for references, and you have to provide at least 2 references for us. And we want to verify your firm's financial health. We can go to the next slide. So in closing, you can go to the next one. It's been a pleasure for me to participate in this event. I kind of tried to go through it quickly, but let's see. In closing, it's been a pleasure for me to participate in this event and in support of this event. I'm here to serve you, so please feel free to utilize my contact information that's listed here. My preferred form of communication is through email, as I'm often away from my desk. If you call the number right now, I'm not in my office, so email is the best way to get in contact with me. I encourage you to visit our website at Golden State Water. which is gswater.com/supplier-diversity-program. We can learn a lot more information about our program and how to register as a vendor. So thank you very much for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So again, I am Holly Joy with Liberty Utilities. I'm about 4 months in of this Friday to Liberty Utilities, so still strategically learning the landscape of Liberty Utilities, but I'm not new to supplier diversity like Michael. I've had well over 10 years experience in supplier diversity, and I look forward to serving both my company, Liberty Utilities, and also serving the diverse community, diverse suppliers that are in the marketplace. Next slide. So Liberty Utilities, our water division, is headquartered in Downey, California. We serve Apple Valley and Southeast Los Angeles with over 50,000 service connections. We're dedicated to delivering reliable, quality drinking water. And our mission is really to deliver sustainable water solutions that can create better everyday lives and inspire. Our values are to be innovative and to partner with people and suppliers and vendors in our communities to make sure that we are giving the best solutions for water delivery. Next slide. We spend about $35 million per year, $10 million to $15 million of that is spent with diverse businesses. Year over year, in the past 8 years, Liberty Utilities has surpassed the 21.5% total spend that is requested by the California Public Utilities Commission Supplier Diversity Program. Next slide. And now I'd like to, it's a very quick introduction for Jeanette Diaz. And I am assuming, Stephanie, that your members will get this particular deck, which would have all of our contact information at the end. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jeanette Diaz, San Gabriel Valley Water Company.
Thank you, Holly, and good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Jeanette Diaz. I am the Manager of Supplier Diversity and Procurement for San Gabriel Valley Water Company. And I'm excited to be here to be able to share a little bit about the company I work for and our process if you are interested in working with us. So next slide, please. So a little bit about San Gabriel Valley Water Company. We are headquartered in El Monte, California. We have 2 divisions. Our LA County division has over 48,000 service connections, while our Fontana Water Company division has over 44,000. Together, we serve a population of more than 480,000. Next slide. And just to give you an idea of the areas we service, we have both our LA County division service area map and our Fontana Water Company Service Division map as well. Fontana, we service mostly all of Fontana and some areas of Rialto, Rancho Cucamonga, and unincorporated areas of San Bernardino County. And in LA County, we have a little bit more service areas, mostly based out of the South El Monte area and covering parts of the certain surrounding cities. Next slide, please. So, what everyone wants to know, where are the areas of opportunity? How can I fit into your procurement process? What can I do for San Gabriel? This is just a list of the areas that we generally are in need of vendors for. Electrical contractors is also another one that's pretty big right now. We have a large EV charging station project coming up. We are always looking for drilling and rehab vendors, as well as pipeline installation contractors. For 2022, our overall CIP project spending budget is $101.3 million. So there's a lot of opportunity there for diverse vendors. If you don't see your service or product that you provide on this list, don't worry. Obviously, this is not the only areas of opportunity. These are just the ones that we are most in need of. But don't hesitate to contact me if you feel you have a service or product that we can utilize. I also have a full list of our service and products on our website. which is www.sgbwater.com, which I can also provide you if you email me with, I'll share my contact information. But these are some areas that we are continuously looking for new suppliers, consultants, or contractors in. Next slide, please. All right, so all of our companies' onboarding process is different. So you want to make sure that you are aware of that and understand that there are 7 water utility companies within the CWA umbrella, Class A water utility companies. And here on the call, there are 7, but each one of us has our own individual onboarding process. For San Gabriel Valley Water Company, we have a vendor information form on our website, which I have here at sgbwater.com. If you are interested in becoming a vendor, you can fill that out, email it to me with your statement of qualifications. I will review it. I will request additional information if needed, and I will discuss it with the appropriate department to see if your product or service is a good fit for us and if we are in need of it. If so, we will usually request a meeting, whether it be in person or on Zoom, and we may ask for additional information such as insurance certificates, permits, resumes of your key personnel, and clearinghouse certification if you are certified in the clearinghouse. Once we do a final review, we will approve to add the vendor into our pre-qualified database. Now, please keep in mind, this is a pre-qualification process. It does take some patience. Sometimes we will onboard a vendor, but it may not be a while until there's an opportunity available. I do keep every vendor's information who reaches out to me. I save them. And that way, if the need for their service or product arises in the future, I go back to that folder and I have them all in there, the ones who reached out. So it doesn't hurt to get your information to us. Even if there's not a current need at the moment, it could very well come up in the near or distant future. So it's always good to get your information out there. Another thing that I would highly recommend to do is network. I think this is my last slide, but I will share just some helpful tips for you. Network. It's never too much networking. You want to get your name out there. I have so many success stories based on someone's card that I happened to find on my desk, or one time I accidentally grabbed a different bag from an event, and I pulled out a statement of qualifications for a geomatics GIS company, and I didn't actually meet them at the event, but I found their statement of qualifications in my colleague's bag that I accidentally took, and they ended up starting to work for us because I was like, oh wow, this company could actually do some work for us. So we set up a meeting. I got my VP of engineering involved, and they started working for San Gabriel. They were a part of one of our water courses. They're now working for other of the 7 water utility companies as well. So it's good to just get out there, get to know us. You never know what might become of those interactions. So that's my piece of advice that I have for you. And I believe that is my last slide. Next slide. Yes. So now I will pass it on to Ms. Lauren James with Suburban Water Systems. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jeanette. Lauren James here with Suburban Water Systems. I'm the Director of Communications for Supplier Diversity, Communications, and Conservation. Suburban's very proud of our supplier diversity efforts. Last year, we accomplished 55% total spend with diverse vendors, and we're always looking, to partner with more local-owned community members so we can continue to give back to our community. On the next slide, I'll go over where Suburban Waters is located. Suburban Waters, we're headquartered in Covina, California, and we cover the San Gabriel Valley, as well as Whittier, La Mirada, and some incorporated parts of Los Angeles and Orange County. Next slide. All right, you can see here a little bit of our service area snapshot. We have 2 districts. One we call San Jose Hills District, which is kind of what they used to call, what they used to call the old Mount Sac area. When I first started, I was like, oh, we're in San Jose. and Tim was San Jose Water, covers San Jose, but no, San Jose Hills. And then, like I said, Whittier La Mirada. Our total connections is about 75,000. We serve a population of 300,000. We have 860 miles of pipeline, and Suburban's been around since 1891. So you can imagine that 860 miles of pipeline is old. And so, it needs a lot of work. So that's where a lot of our spend is with our pipes and pipeline contractors. We have 100 boosters. We have 63 remote sites. We have 32, I believe we're now at 33 reservoirs and 18 wells. All this equipment needs attention. So, on the next slide, I'll show the business opportunities. Perfect. Business opportunities. So this is just a list. And as Jeanette said, we're always looking, diversifying our vendor pool. I got people to reach out to me regarding a bee removal. So if you don't see something that you don't do on this list, don't hesitate to not reach out. Reach out anyway. Like Jeanette said, you never know when we're going to need your service. So what we're really looking for right now is water service line blow off and air release replacements, valve replacement, AC and concrete service restoration, steel tank construction, welding and painting. I know we really need that. Steel tank retrofits, welding and painting, earthwork and grading, site work like chain link fencing, wrought iron fencing, CMU block walls. We need landscaping. I've made some great connections with some landscapers, but all our plant sites and our offices need landscaping. And then on our major projects too, we do landscaping, like to hide the reservoirs if the customers don't like seeing it in their backyard. We get big trees. So demolition, I know demolition was big last year, and I was able to connect with a diverse vendor that was part of one of our conferences. So that was great. Engineering design services, construction management services, electrical. I know electrical is big on the list. We've been adding several electrical vendors because our main one that we've been working with for over 45 years is retiring. So I know we are adding electrical vendors. And just to kind of touch on what Ed said, we are working with Leiden. And, it was a great relationship. It started very small. I had a $5,000 project, and now she's doing work for Leiden. Anastasia is doing work for us for over 500,000. So it's been a great relationship. And there's something that Leiden worked towards, and built a relationship with Suburban and the other members. And then the last one on the list is pump and motor installations, so wells and boosters. So if you see anything on the list, please don't hesitate to reach out. I know I saw a question at the end. We have on the last slide, it has all our contact information. So be sure to take a picture of that with your phone, and I know they're going to follow up and send it to you. Next slide. All right, I'll pass it on over to Tim.
All right, great. Thank you, Lauren. So my name is Tim McLaughlin. I am the Director of Supplier Diversity at San Jose Water. Why don't we go to the next slide, please? Before I get into a little bit of how to do business with San Jose Water, I would like you all to understand we are part of a larger corporation called SJW Group. SJW Group has locations in San Jose, which is what I'll talk about today. We also have Texas, Connecticut Water, and Maine Water. So we are always looking to expand, and that's part of our strategy. And that expansion to the East Coast took place within the last 2 or 3 years. So about San Jose Water, next slide, please. Over 150 years of service, we are one of the only, I think, Class A water companies within the state of California that is really consolidated into one particular location, and that is San Jose. I typically would have a map showing all of our locations, but all I would do would be show you a map of San Jose, and that's it. So think of San Jose and surrounding areas, 230,000 customers, over a million connections. We have about 370 employees, a lot of pipe that we install, like many of the other companies. 106 pump stations, a lot of storage facilities, and a couple water treatment plants. Next slide, please. Okay, a little bit about onboarding. And this is a little bit difficult to see. I don't think these are my colors, so I'm having a little difficulty reading it, but the website is shown there. Our supplier registration site is through a third party called Avisar. The nice part about that is if you register with them, other people will be able to see you. There's a lot of people that use Avisar as their registration portal in the Los Angeles area. So we've had instances of you going in and registering under San Jose Water and being contacted by other entities that are outside of the water industry. I'd like to bring attention to the utility supplier diversity reports through the California Public Utilities Commission. If this hasn't been said already, I think maybe it has, but to make you aware, the California Public Utilities Commission has reports on all of the joint utility companies, not just water, but others as well, such as gas, electric, and utilities, or telecom. All of us have to put together a report on our previous year's results and our future year's plan. We publish those reports. For instance, the link here is for 2021. That is a report, the latest report that is available, and you can go in and learn a lot about what we buy, what gaps that we might have in our reporting, and you might see where you fit in as you look at some of those reports. They're big, there's a lot of information, so you need to spend a lot of time if you're going to go through those. Next slide. Okay, I'm going to talk now about SJW Group, which includes Texas, Maine, Connecticut, and California. We are embarking on a centralized procurement activity, whereby over the next 5 years, we're going to be out there putting RFPs together for several materials. These are bunched together based upon probably almost 6 months, maybe a year ago. We broke everything into 5 separate bullet items, thinking that these were going to be RFPs that would come out roughly at the same time. There is no rhyme or reason to it now. So just know that if you see something on this list at some point within the next several years, we plan on going out to RFP some of these services. So I won't read through all of them, but as you can see, many of them are associated with construction, engineering, environmental, and things of that nature. So take a look at those, and if you feel that you have the capabilities to work in any of those spaces, please reach out. I did put my email address in the chat so that you can send me a capability statement, and I'd be happy to get that in the hands of the right person. So that's some of the SJW Group centralized procurement activities. Now let's go to the next slide, and we'll talk about some San Jose Water opportunities. I want to talk about the AMI program. That's the first 2 bullets, 3 actually. AMI is smart meters. So every house, apartment, etc., has a meter to judge how much water is flowing through to the particular household or the particular structure. And those meters are all going to be replaced over the next several years with smart meter technology that will allow much more granularity as far as use, time of use, rate during the use. Just know that all of these meters need replaced. So we're going to have to send people out to each location where I think 200, 300,000 meters over several years are going to have to be replaced with these new meters. But also it's a huge project. It's a lot of spend, and it goes well beyond simply going out, taking a meter out of service and putting a new meter in. We have campaigns that we have to reach out to customers on. We have training that we have to put together. We need folks that can do project management and consulting. Many of these vendors have been decided at a very high level, but as we move through that project, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity. Some of the more popular things for direct opportunities of San Jose: fleet purchasing, paving, generators, office supplies. Electrical contractor, we're one of the few that does not use light and electric. And I think the main reason for that is we're in the Northern California area only, but we do have need for electrical contractors. HVAC, construction of sumps, electrical hardware, and chlorination parts and supplies. This is not an exhaustive list, and it does change a lot. So as you've heard others talk about what they purchase, if you think you fit into any of our company and any of our companies based on what you've heard, it would behoove you to send out something to the entire group if you have our emails, so that we could take a look and see if there's an opportunity that matches your capability. I think that is all I have. When we go to the next slide, please. Yes. So on, I will turn it over to Ed Simon of California American Water.
Thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate that. As I mentioned before, I'm Ed Simon. I'm the Inclusion and Diversity Officer for California American Water. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about American Water, or California American Water, a parent company, as well as how we're structured, and then also share some opportunities with you. So the next slide, please. So California American Water, we are not the largest in California. We are the 4th largest regulated water utility in California, serving, as you see there, about 690, almost 700,000 people throughout the state. As you can see from the diagram to the right, we are spread across the state from all the way down south in San Diego, all the way up north to Placer County. We are structured, we're divisionalized. So our Southern Division includes San Diego, the Los Angeles County area, the Ventura County area, as well as, that handles all of the South. Then when you move up the state, we handle all of the Monterey Peninsula and some surrounding areas that you see there. And then in the north, we're in Merced County, Sonoma County, Placer County, as well as Sacramento County. We're not we don't serve all of Sacramento, but we do serve portions of Sacramento. You see the numbers there. I won't read through it, but I will tell you our parent company is American Water, which is the largest investor in water utility, wastewater utility in the US, and growing. And so working with California American Water, if you are looking to expand beyond California, you certainly do a great job for us with CWA utility companies, then I certainly can refer you to some of the other states in which we operate. Next slide, please. So this list isn't an all-inclusive list, but I wanted to share with you some of the many opportunities that you have to work with us. You see the column to the right are all of the construction related opportunities to work with us, from underground pipe construction to concrete work. I won't read through all of these, but also the services that we offer there in the middle column. To Tim's point, meter installation, we all are installing, for the most part, smart meters. So there's some opportunities to work if you are in the metering space. Engineering is huge for us, as well as the other utilities, from design and build to civil, architectural. And then to the right are all of this, well, not all, but a list of the goods and products that we purchase. Water meters is huge, hydrants, ductile iron, copper, and PVC pipe. So just wanted to give you a flavor of an overall list of items that we procure. Next slide, please. So now what I wanted to do is break it down by division, so you have an idea of what we're looking for in each of the divisions that we operate. In our Southern Division, this slide shows some of the reoccurring projects. And when we talk about reoccurring projects, it's just that projects that we do every year, that we include in our rate case as things we do just to operate our water utility. In the Southern Division specifically, we have a need for valve and hydrant services, water main installations and repair, well rehab, emergency repairs. And so those are the reoccurring every year, every month, we're probably doing this type of project and could use some help. And that's for the Southern Division. The next slide, please. This list is a list of all of the investment projects that were approved by the Commission for the Southern Division. Every year, most all of the regulated utilities go in and file a rate case, and we identify what it is that we are planning to, what projects we would like to cover for that year or for that 3-year period. This list, and I won't read through all of them, but this list includes specifically the investment projects that we are working on in our Southern Division. You can see reservoir maintenance, including coating, pipeline installation, well drilling, and you're hearing a lot of the repeat things that you've heard from the other utilities. To the right are the additional needs based upon those investment projects from the CWA permitting. So if you have some experience with CWA permitting, we certainly would love to hear from you and talk with you. Traffic control, surveying, inspection services, construction inspection service, electricians. Those are all of the investment related projects for our Southern Division. Next slide, please. Now, moving up the state, in our Central Division, we also call our Coastal Division, is our Monterey area. As I mentioned before, we serve all of the Monterey Peninsula and a lot of the surrounding areas around the peninsula there. But these are lists of both the investment projects as well as the reoccurring projects that we have there. We have the pipeline installation, well treatment, well rehab. You're seeing a repeat of some of the things you saw in the Southern Division pump station. Huge for us is the well treatment, drilling, rehab. So that's our Monterey needs. Next slide, please. In our Northern Division, you can see here, we're not listing all of the opportunities, but what we did want to share with you for our Northern Division, 90% of the water that we deliver to our customers come from over 100 wells. So a lot of the needs that we have in our Sacramento area are focused on the well, the treatment of those wells, the delivery of the water. The bottom line is we do need folks that can help us with the well rehab, well drilling, tank painting, tank rehabilitation, engineering related projects, pipeline construction. So those are our needs for the Northern Division, which is largely the Sacramento area. Next slide, please. So this is our contact information if you're interested in working with California American Water, and you'll see at the end of Jose's presentation is all of our contact information. But if you are interested in working with California American Water, feel free to email us at the CAWC Supplier Diversity Team at American Water. You also could visit our website that you see there. That will link you to a lot of information around supplier diversity. That includes a copy of our construction as well as professional services contracts. We're very transparent on our contract language, so you can do your homework there. We provide our insurance requirements. We also provide next steps to working with us. So feel free to reach out to us. And I think that is my last slide, and I'm going to turn it over to Jose Espinoza.
Hello, folks. Well, Ed, thank you for saving the best for last. My name is Jose Espinoza. I am the Supplier Diversity Program Manager for California Water Service. Today, I want to share with you where we are, what we buy, and how to do business with us. On the next slide. This is us. This is the territory that we cover. We have more than 20 cities across the state. So we go as far north as Chico and as far south as Commerce. This adds a level of complexity when it comes to procurement, but it also means that there are a lot of opportunities across the state. Next slide. you're going to see many of the same things that my colleagues talked about. I think that some of the very important things that we have going on right now are physical security projects. We're doing a lot of work with fencing. We're doing a lot of work with access control, CCTV. Also, we have a lot of opportunities in janitorial, in landscaping. These contracts tend to be cyclical. They tend to be 3 to 5 years. So every 3 years, we will go out to bid. So these are some of the opportunities that we have. All right, so how do you do business with us? Well, the first thing is to figure out whether we buy your products or services. While we do buy a lot of things, there are many things that we don't. But also the next step is to figure out whether the purchase is centralized or decentralized. Janitorial services, for example, will be procured by the local district office, but consultant services might be procured at a statewide level from our headquarters in San Jose. Next, is it under contract? And also, if yes or no, what are the terms of the contract? Is it a 3-year contract? Is it going to be renewed? Is it going to go out to bid? So these are very important steps because it can give you an idea of, if you will, the lead time that is going to be before the opportunity becomes available. One tip that I always share with potential contractors or vendors is take a look at your website. It's very important that we can see your past performance. We want to know where you have worked, whom have you worked with, the type of projects that you have completed, especially if they're related to water, or if you have worked with some of the other CWA companies. That's very important to us because it already tells me that you will probably meet our insurance requirement. You will probably have a good safety record if you're already working with any other utility. The licenses, are you an A, B, C contractor, a C7, a C10? Are you union, non-union? Do you have any safety certifications? What about your staff? Do you have any D2s or T2s in your staff? Do you have any PEs, professional engineers, in your staff? This is important for us to know because it gives us a great idea of the capabilities or the capacity of the services or products that you have. I didn't mention any certifications or memberships, maybe any industry memberships that you might have. Many staffing agencies, for example, belong to the Society of Human Resource Management. So that's very important for us to get a good idea of. Next is to meet our insurance requirements. We do list them on our website: general liability, commercial liability, professional liability. I will say that at times we do, depending on the project or the scope, we do take a look at the insurance requirements to make sure that they match. In case we have seen instances where small or diverse suppliers cannot meet the requirements, and then we will make exceptions based on a case-by-case basis. Also, our terms and conditions. So these are normally what will govern the transaction, and we want you to take a look at that beforehand. The worst case scenario is that we select you for the project, and then you realize that the contract language, it's not for you. So that is something that we also encourage you to review. I did see some discussion about payment terms. We do include payment information on our website. How do you submit an invoice? Who do you need to contact? And also for diverse suppliers, we actually extend payment terms of net 15. So that concludes my presentation. I want to turn it over to Paul so that we can move forward. Thank you so much for having me here. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Appreciate the assist, Jose. You gotta love it, technology, right? So again, thank you very much to our presenters today. If you have any questions, please add those to the Q&A comment box down below, and we'll make sure to share those with our presenters that we have. So moving with that, we have a couple questions here that we just want to make sure that first and foremost, yes, the slides will be offered. We will email those to all of our participants that are here today. So rest assured, you'll be receiving the slide deck with a post webinar information along with additional supporting documents from our presenters. Excellent. And then we can bring up all of our speakers. That'd be great. Next question that we have here, and perhaps Holly could speak to this, or Edward, but this is I've been in the business for 40 years. I recently opened my business a short while ago. I'm union and held to strict guidelines. Payrolls being first and foremost one of their main concerns. How do I qualify for the tasks? And more importantly, is submitting invoices difficult and time consuming?
Well, I'll take a stab at it, Ed. It's a lot of questions in that, but in
Yes.
terms of, how do you qualify and are you eligible? Every company, as you've heard through this presentations, have different criteria. The 4 years doesn't necessarily mean that it excludes you from being able to pursue an opportunity, but there are some companies that require a little bit more than 4 years being in business. Your question about being a union shop, that also varies between the companies. Some of them do work with union shops. I think probably maybe all of us might work with union shops, so it's not some of us. And it really depends on the goods or services that you're providing to us that tells us whether or not you're eligible to work with us. And then in terms of your payment, I know that all of the water utilities work with what we call prompt payment processing. So when you submit your invoice to us, we certainly do everything we can to get that invoice to you 30, no more than 45 days after the work has been finished, assuming that everything is proper and in order. And if you find that it's pushing up against that timeline and you still have not received any notification or payment, then the supplier diversity manager can assist you if that's what is going on. There were so many questions in that. I hope that I answered the questions for you, but certainly if there's anything additional you'd like to know, please feel free to ask. And to my colleagues, if you'd like to add some things, please do.
Yeah, the only thing I would add, Holly, is a couple of things. One, to Holly's point on the payment terms, our payment terms differ. I know for California American Water, we just recently adjusted ours to a 30-day window. But if you would like to see something besides what is included in any of our language, you should just reach out to us and have that discussion. It is possible that you could negotiate sooner payment terms. So I would encourage you to have that discussion early on. So if you would like to get paid sooner, that certainly we do have some flexibility there. Specifically for California American Water, we use a system called Talia. All of your invoices are submitted electronically, and I think some of my other colleagues have gone through an automated type of system. And then at that particular point, once that, to Holly's point, your invoice is approved through the different approvers and it's sitting out there waiting for your payment term. If you want to go in and get your payment tomorrow, you could for a fee. So there is that particular process. But I will also say, and I think, and others can speak up here, I think Golden State's the only one that has that 5-year requirement of being in business. I know I've worked with people just starting out in a business, so I don't think we all have that requirement in our language. I think Golden State's I think the only one that, with that language, I believe, but others can share.
Yes, Ed,
Please, Jeanette.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's correct. I was just going to add, we also at San Gabriel have a lot of companies that we have started off with that are very small. We start them with a pilot project. A lot of them haven't been in business for long. So it allows them to have an opportunity to show us how they work on a smaller scale. And then we start slowly, assuming everything goes well, we start slowly building that a scale of work up. And as far as the invoicing and net terms for San Gabriel, yeah, we are open to that negotiation during the contract. If you prefer a net 15, we are definitely open to considering that. So we have our vendors on various, net 15, net 30 terms. So definitely something that is open for discussion.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Next question that we have here is, will a diversified goal be mandatory on each of TIN's projects?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Will,
can.
I-
answer.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I
Let me
think
repeat that question one more time. Sorry. Will a diversified goal be mandatory on each of Tim's projects?
Yeah, so I'll answer that. It's referring to me, and I also answered that in via text in the chat. But basically, what happens is we do have requirements for major projects and major construction projects with our prime suppliers. Whenever we go out to an RFP, we have mandatory goals that need to be reached contractually within the contract. They're negotiated, so not every project is like the other. So, and then we roll that up and we look periodically at how the prime supplier is doing against those goals, and then mitigate the plan if they're falling behind.
Thank you. Next question that we have here is, how can a marketing research firm help that's actually more towards CWA, so we'll set that to the side. The next question that we have here is, will a representative be assigned to aid with contractor payments? I think we kind of generally already answered that, right?
Well, I can answer that
Please.
again. I put that in the chat as well. Just speaking for San Jose Water, we're very small. So effectively, when you submit an invoice, which basically the way you do it is through email, attach a PDF invoice, and it goes direct. It's a specific email that goes directly to our AP group. The AP group's really small, so effectively you're going to get, one of several people that are going to manage your invoice, and you'll be able to work with them if you have any issues.
Mhm.
Excellent. So again, if there's any questions from our audience, please add them to the Q&A box. As we wait, perhaps you can share with us as what's the first step that businesses should do?
I think that I have a question very quickly. Mark, what goods or services do you provide?
Mark's going to have to type that in if he hasn't typed it in, so we'll have to get back to him on that.
Okay, great. So in terms of, what should businesses do? Do things just like this, right? Come out, and when you have an opportunity to meet investor-owned utilities, whether it's in the water sector or in the telecommunications, wherever your business is, wherever your niche is, and wherever you think that you can provide service, to begin your conversations and your relationships just like this, to understand what the industry is, what the industry is offering, how you can possibly align. And as supplier diversity managers, we are that initial point of contact. When we speak to suppliers that are interested in potentially doing business with us, our first goal is to seek to understand that there is actually alignment for the goods and services that we're trying to procure. We have to have knowledge of what is happening internal to our companies. You saw in some of the presentations that of the different opportunities, and most of those opportunities are similar because we're all delivering the same commodity. And there are some nuances for how that introduction takes place. Most supplier diversity managers are going to connect you with their internal partner who works with that particular goods or services to procure the materials or the service needed to complete a project. We have an expectation that when that introduction is made, that you would come fully prepared to discuss not only what your company can provide, not only that you're a diverse supplier, but also explain how your goods or services actually can help us with the projects that we're looking to complete. So again, how do you get involved and how do you get introduced to the company? First and foremost, attend informational sessions like this. From these informational sessions, you'll receive contact information. You've probably seen that most of the water utilities have registration portals where you can input your company information so that it is readily available to not only us as supplier diversity managers, but for the companies that have expanded that access to their buyers. They have first look when they're searching for enterprises that they can work with. So I'm not sure, team, is there anything else that we want to add to that?
Yeah, the only other thing I would add, and I saw Mark's comment about him doing demolition and pipeline work. I think you heard that from all of us, right?
Mhm.
So if you have interest in working with us, I would just maybe make it easy for any of you, instead of trying to send 7 different emails to 7 different companies, use the contact information that's on that last page that I'm sure Paul and Stephanie will be sending out, and send over your capability statement, 1 email, send it to all of us. I mean, that way you can certainly, we can help you navigate through our different registration processes. But I know for California American Water, most all of us, we have a registration process. I think you heard that from all of us. But yeah, it's sending the email and the capability statement really starts the discussion. Then I also saw someone does the GIS work. We
Mhm.
all need GIS services. So you can send 1 email, each of us, or make it easy on yourselves, send 1 email with to the 7 of us. I would encourage you to do that, would be the first step, in my opinion, so that we all have your information and it's readily available there.
Mhm. And I would add also to Mark, thank you for responding, that you provide demolition services and pipeline. When you speak of pipeline, are you talking about actual material? Are you talking about pipeline installation? And then demolition, are you talking about demolition of actual buildings, or do you have capability to demolish wells, tanks? What specifically is your range? And I guess the audience is not able to speak, Paul. They're just putting it in the chat. Then
Correct.
okay, you don't have to put all of that in the chat, Mark. I'm sorry. You don't have to write a whole lengthy thing. But my contact information is in this packet that you'll receive. Please send me your capability statement so we can look at that at Liberty Utilities. Okay.
Perfect. And one other question perhaps is, can you share, what's the supplier clearinghouse? Why is that important?
I'll let Michael take that.
Yes.
You're on
Michael.
mute, Michael. You're on mute.
Okay, so here's my area of expertise. So the Supplier Clearinghouse is the certification agency that certifies companies as women, minority, LGBT owned businesses. There's a new certification for the persons with disability certification that they're doing now as well. That is a certification agency that all of us use. We all are required to report our diverse spend using that database. If they're not certified through that agency, then we can't count the dollars that we spend. Although we may be doing business with a diverse business, they're not diverse according to the regulations that we are required to follow if they're not certified by that agency. I think that's the question, but to get certified, their website is www.thesupplierclearinghouse.com. And I think Holly mentioned it before, it's about a 30 to 45 day application process. They ask for either a little or a lot of information, depending on which way you answer certain questions in the application. There may be a site visit that's required. There's definitely always taxes that's required. And really their whole goal is to verify ownership, management, and control of the company to make sure that you meet the requirements to be considered as a diverse business.
And I would add there that the 30 to 45 day is time for your submission and processing of the application. It's not that you're going to have to attend any seminar or talk to somebody for those 30 or 45 days. And I always ask people, when you're thinking about certification, if you've never gone through that process, as a business owner, you probably already have all of the documents that are going to be required. Things that substantiate your identity as a diverse individual. You're going to have things like your business license. You're going to have your taxes. If you're incorporated, you're going to have your board minutes. And those are the things that are validating that you are, in fact, a business entity, recognized and official. You're going to have an employee identification number. So these are not new things that you have to go out and do or purchase or have. It should already be part of your business infrastructure from an administrative standpoint. And then I also ask the suppliers that when you look at that website, it is a lot of information and there are different steps. And I just kind of ask you to break it down in tasks. first just look at the website. On Monday, I'm going to just look at the website and I'm going to not worry about all the documents that they're asking me for. I'm just going to look at the website and get myself familiar with it. Can I navigate? Can I set up my account? What else do I think I want to know about it? And then the next day, maybe, or the next week, look at it again and start gathering your documents with only the sole purpose of gathering your documents. Not that you have to go in and, you know, sit there for hours, try to figure out how to navigate, but get all of your ducks in a row. It makes it more, I think, palatable, less daunting and overwhelming, and it'll get you to a better place of understanding about everything that you need to do to submit your application. And also know that the clearinghouse team is there with their analysts and their service representatives that can help you navigate and help answer any questions you might have. And then at the end of the day, if you have any questions that the supplier diversity manager can help you with, you can certainly call us and we'll give you the experience that we've had and also make sure that you are on your way to getting certified. It is.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
The only
Ed.
other thing I would add is I'm also a small business owner. I've gone through the process and I totally agree with Holly. I mean, I went through, I knew just from my experience, but I printed out the requirement, the document requirement list. And, every day I chunked away at getting the information entered into the system before I hit the send button. So yes, it does look a little overwhelming initially, but I would tell you, if to Holly's point, if you break it down and submit documents and upload documents a little bit at a time, and then eventually entering, hitting the send button, it's easier that way than to try to sit down and do it all at once.
Right. And I think the question is also why? Why do I have to jump through this hoop? And we get that a lot. Why do I have to? It is simply because we want to make sure that we're hitting the market that we are supposed to be hitting in terms of our diverse supplier diversity programs. At the same time, through this clearinghouse, through the supplier diversity programs, this allows us to not only to report the spend and the utilization, but it also allows us to highlight companies. Sometimes we do that in our reports. It allows us to really, really validate the contributions that we're making to the California economy and beyond, simply through diverse-owned businesses. So certification is an integral part and a very necessary part of our programs in each of these spaces and all of the joint utilities for California.
Thank you for that. Really appreciate that. It looks like we have one last question here, and it's, does each group produce their own printing internally or place those needs for bids?
If you're talking about printing,
It looks like they're referring
bills?
to business cards, signage, so forth.
We all, I think, use printing services for a variety of things, whether it's printing business cards or our bills, even, the bills and invoices that come out, or brochures, even our promotional items that is done external. So we always are doing that and looking for resources. Depending on the company, you might have a long-term contract, or you might just have one that's on a master service agreement that's who you call for the next 3 or 5 years. So that's always a question that you want to ask to see how actually are they approaching their procurement of those types of services.
Excellent. Well, I think that wraps up most of our questions. There's no more further questions on that. But again, as we've stated, and all of you have mentioned on multiple occasions, that you have a contact information sheet that we will be sending out to everyone along with the recording of this webinar. So with that, I would certainly like to thank the California Water Association for joining us for this important topic, as it provides value and economic opportunities in our local businesses. I also want to thank our supporters, the Los Angeles Latino Chamber of Commerce and the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. They, as you can imagine, are very important in making sure that we get this information out to their constituents to help uplift, all of our regions collectively. With that said, I'd like to ask our participants to please follow us on social media. Again, our tagline, our tag is Latinos for Water. Latinos for Water. You can also visit our website at latinosforwater.org. And more importantly, feel free to sign up for our newsletter. You can find that in the chat momentarily, a link there, so you can learn about the work that we at WELL are doing, and more importantly, continue to follow up on this great opportunities for your local businesses. So with that, I'd like to thank all of our participants and everyone that participated and provided questions for today. And thank you very much, and have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
good week.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.